Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, our friends and our enemies.
He has to give you the the light to be able to see and to be able to go down a straight path. My story is that I came to dislike Islam very much and attack Islam. But all things be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He gave me that hidayah and that ability to to awake and see that the thing that I was running away from and rejecting was actually the thing that I needed the most. And I pray that for, this is my indigenous country. I didn't immigrate here. My people have always been here for over 500 years. And I pray that one day that my country will wake up and realize that Islam is what's best for us, because if it doesn't, we're heading for destruction.
Well said, CL. Well said. And I definitely want to second that. I think a lot of opposition that you see to Islam, it comes from the shaitan. And often you will find people saying, or our people didn't follow that way. Like even in the Quran, like Pharaoh is like tricking Musa. He's trying to like get a certain response from Musa when he's saying, well, what about our forefathers? Where are they? And, Musa wisely, answers him. Go ahead, Bilal.
I want to cut you off real quick because I just want to interject, because you said some people say that's an Arab religion. You know that this particular thing about the Arab religion, this is something that is specific for Black people. We are the only ones talking about this Arab religion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was introduced to us by missionaries.
That is a clear trick of the shaitan, right? It's a clear
definitely
plot of the shaitan, right? Because
but I'm sure that we're not the only people that happen to, though. I'm sure like other races hear the same thing, like especially like Euro Americans and
maybe I know in Europe sometimes they connect Islam to being an Indian religion sometimes, right? But not with the veracity and the fierceness that the Black folk have of connecting Islam to being an Arab religion. And the reason why that is because of this divide and conquer tactic that really started in Africa from Christian Orientalists, where they made people who were the same type of people, they're the same type of people. They're the ones who divided, especially in the Sudan, the Muslims as Arabs, and anybody who wasn't Muslim as Black African, right? And from that time, and from the carryover of that into slavery, we haven't been able to get away from it, because we as Black Americans are trying to find our identity. We're still looking for who we are. The whether it's in South America, whether it's in North America, with the descendants of slaves, we're still looking for our identity. We're still searching for it. But when you have a whole group of people that are mixed with every single tribe of Africa, and we're mixed with every single race in the West, including white, including Chinese, including Indians, Native, and all that kind of stuff, and we're still Black, right? The only thing that can really be successful of making unity with the people is something that's under Allah Himself, which it has to be Islam, right? So from the tricks of Shaitan, for us, this is like a sticking point, because for us it hurt that the history of slavery and colonization really stings, right? So this is something that stings you. You know what I mean? So we have to connect that Islam to that Arab religion stuff, right? So I just wanted to make that point. But yeah, I really appreciate that you brought that up. So go ahead, Point Select. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean that's exactly what they do. That's one of his main tricks, to use like extreme nationalism or extreme,
us versus them,
extremism, ethnic groups, this sort of thing. Yeah. That's exactly what they do. Like, because I was thinking about that, because I remember reading a ayah in the Quran where Musa's giving dawah to like Pharaoh, and Pharaoh like mentions like, well, what about our forefathers? Were they misguided? He was trying to get a certain rise out of Musa. Like, what do you say about them? What happened to them? I guess hoping he say they in hell or whatever and offend the people. And he was like, that knowledge is with, Allah. So, Musa like, use revelation. Allah sent them wise revelation. So yeah, I mean, they use that a lot, bro. Go ahead.
Look, like this particular event that you're mentioning here. This is the Pharaonic Shubha. Musa is talking to Pharaoh about, hey, yo, you have a creator and you will be accountable to him. Can we talk about that? And then Pharaoh, he goes on a tangent. Oh, so what about the previous people? Listen, we're not talking about the previous people right now. We're talking about the fact that you are a creation that has a creator. And that's what we need to focus on right now. But they don't want to talk about that. They're always trying to slip away with, an issue that would be some form of emotional controversy and just make people run
Exactly.
away and just not tackle the core topic that is the most important.
Right. And then you often find, like with our people, Bilal, they make remarks like that, but you will find that they want to worship somebody ancestor thousands of years ago, and you want to follow their way, but they have grandparents, great grandparents, and you don't even follow what they follow. You're following some Kemetic, Egyptian, the religion of the ancient Egyptians, and you ask them, did your grandparents follow that? So like they didn't even follow what their parents are following. But you're going back to something else, glorifying some ancestors that you never met. The other point I wanted to make when the brother mentioned about the magic, and that's why I asked him about the Yahoo, because Allah tells us in the Quran that this came down in Babylon, right?
That's
Down
right.
Zatech. So I believe the
That's
knowledge
right.
came from there. And I think people were meeting people, but certain people learned this stuff, and I think they probably passed it down to their children. I think people still was having interactions, and I think, that's how it spread. People wanted the life of this worldly life. But
Look,
I asked them about the Yahoo
one second,
because
like,
the Yahoo would have been more knowledgeable about this than like the Christian Westerner. Like they would already knew these things like in their books. So that's why I asked them what was their connection, with the occult. I appreciate it. Salam alaikum. On the end right there.
So,
point of light. Point of light.
before you go, Abdullah, I just want to quickly address something that points that I said back to the Arab thing, right? One quick point, right? Let's say, for example, that hypothetically, right, Islam is an Arab religion, right? Right? What are the original Arabs? Come on, somebody say it. The original Arabs are what?
They look like
Thank
us.
you. Thank you. And not only that,
That's the over for the under. That's the over.
their books and they understand that the original Arabs are black people, and they know this, and it's in their literature, right? So
actually, Dr. Umar, when he was pressed about his comments about Islam, and he said his comments about the Arabs, when he was pressed about that, he made that statement. He said, "Yeah, I know that the original Arabs were black-skinned people. If you knew that, then why did you make that statement in the first place? Because these people are confused. They have their own agendas."
Yes, and you got to remember that the racism did not begin until late 1400s, early 1500s. This is when the idea of race began. Anything before that, there was no such thing called race. People were not looking at each other like a race, the black race, the white race, or whatever. They would mention their phenotypes as black. This one's a black. This one's red. This one's whatever. But they weren't looking at them as some sort of like a different type of human being or something like that. They just like mentioning them like based on their color, right? It's us because of the racism that we faced. We have this idea in our head. So everything that happened prior to that, we kind of pigeonhole racism with it, and that was not a thing at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. When he was
Bilal, you notice how many times they have redefined what is black? First, it was just a person with black skin. Then that wasn't enough. Then you got to have features like this. This make the black. You notice how that happened over time too?
Yeah, of course. Because as when you're looking at through the history of slavery, right? Every single colony, whether it's Spanish or French or British or Dutch, they had their different rules and ideas of race. All of them did. So in the American experience, you have the one drop rule, right? One drop of black blood, you are black. Okay. This is a carryover from the Spanish, right? The Spanish, they're the original ones who made that rule. They said you must have two pure blood white grandparents from the mother side and the father side. If you have this, then you're pure blood. They're the ones who started that. But then when they colonized places like Colombia, right? Or the Caribbean, they said that if any black person mixes with a white person, that person is white, that person is white. So they have a completely different rule because it is a social construct. The idea of race is a social construct. If you look at South Africa, right, they have 3 different categories. They have black, which is the native people. They have white, which is the Boers and whatnot, right? But what's between that? What did they call them?
The colored.
Right? If you call us colored in the West, what is that? Is it something good?
It's
Nowadays,
a derogatory name.
we used to go by color.
Yes, but if you call a colored person in South Africa black, they're going to be very offended because for them they are colored. They're not black. The same way how we look as colored is the same way that they look at calling them some other derogatory.
I know we got to go, and I want to listen to Abdullah. Respond on that about the Babylon, about magic coming down to Babylon, how to spread.
Paper gold. You see, black folks are chumps. If America were to tell you to bring all the rocks in this country to her, and she'll give you $1 million for it, you'll do it. And the next day she'll tell you we're using rocks for currencies, chump.